Hi, my name is Kendall,
I'm Dominique.
and this is our discussion for our movement study. Some things I learned about Dominique's movement is it's very airy, very like off the ground-ish, like not grounded like mine. There's a lot of technique involved. With this movement specifically is like more jazzy, I would say. You want to say something?
I was gonna start talking about what a difference between the way I performed my movement and then the way that Kendall performed it, and like vice versa with Kendall's movement and the way I did it. It's super cool that people take embody movement in their own way. Like, of course, I wasn't going to do it the exact same way he was, and he wasn't going to do it the exact same way I was. But like, for one of the questions on here, what do you see in the movement? I feel like you definitely can tell a difference, even though you're doing the exact same movement your partner's doing, but you saw different things throughout there. So that was one of the things I learned, and that's one of the things you see as a choreographer and more to develop, like in your choreographing. Even though you're telling them to do a certain bit, of course they're going to do it not totally different, but different in a way, because they're not,
Right, different dancers.
Yeah.
Learning your movement wasn't necessarily difficult, just because I was familiar with the style. Of course, your style is way different than how I would do it, but I don't know, it's fun. The way you taught it was effective because I knew what you wanted, and you explained how you wanted things to be. You gave a style, you gave direction, so that was good.
I would say the same thing. He gave good direction. His was super grounded, which I liked, and super twisty, I guess you can say. There's a lot of like twist and turny like movements throughout that. But yes, his was very different compared to mine, as a sense of even just like styles too. Mine, I guess, right away just went to like the jazzy side, and his was more contemporary into the ground, and you can even put a little bit of modern into that too. I thought that it was really helpful with the note taking, like when people were writing notes on a half sheet of paper and like going off of the certain questions that we talked about the first day of class. It's also really cool when people are just watching your movement compared to I teach my friend and then he does my movement. It's different when you're just watching it and you're not doing anybody's movement, because then like even with that, they took it a whole different way compared to dancing each other's movement, if that makes sense. So I thought that was really cool too, because some of the things that were in my notes were way different than like some of the things that he said today right now, and I don't know how that was for you.
I would say there was more difference. I felt like I saw, but I do see what you're saying. Just how on those sheets of paper people did, like it was interesting to see like they got what we were trying to do. That makes sense. Like just like when people would say, "Oh, contemporary movement for mine," and grounded and heavy for mine, and more jazz. I don't know what yours said, but I would think they said more jazzy, more on a technical side. So it's nice to see that something you're trying to convey is coming across that way. I guess I'm trying to say.
And one of the last things I just wanted to talk about, I thought it was cool when, before we even taught each other our movements, we kind of had a discussion of like what was going to happen before we did it. So like on here it says like what is your demonstration, your definition of technique? And I like told Kendall, for me, when I hear the word technique, that's another bit of training. Like we're in modern technique classes, we're in ballet technique classes, and those technique classes are a way for us to train so we can become better dancers, for you to say. So I remember telling Kendall with my movement, Even also being a teacher of technique for students that are in competition dance, I base my movement around what would help either me or help another dancer. I mean, I guess it just goes back to what style you're in, with teaching competition dance. I mean, technique over there is turns and jumps, so it's a more jazzy, upbeat thing. I don't know if you've taught technique classes, if it's like turns and jumps or anything like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I just, before we even got into movement, we kind of had a discussion. Like, that was my definition of technique, and he like talked about what was his definition of technique, and then we went right into our phrases.
Because it gave her a better understanding of what to like expect, and like gave her like insight of what we thought about our movement, and, like how we would teach other people our movement, or like just how we describe it.
Right.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
Mm-mm.
All right, well, that was our discussion.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.